live now.
Well, good morning. I'm here with the famous Sissy Jones, and it's our 50th anniversary at Sissy's Log Cabin, so we thought we would kind of reminisce a little bit with my dear mother. You know, the story about I call her Sissy 99% of the time, unless I want something, then I call her Mom.
That's the truth.
So
Exactly.
we are going to have we're having our 50th anniversary this year. We're thrilled about it. We just thought it'd be a great time to go back over some memories, and I think that we would love to hear how you started. How did it all come about, Susan?
I'm sitting here thinking about how that little boy loaded all that furniture for me out of that attic so we could start. And one day, I had built a new house on 42nd Street, and it was full of my stuff. And Bill and Ginger and Murphy came in and said, "When are you getting all this stuff out of here?"
Yeah, I was 7 and Ginger was 12.
That's right. And so I said, "Well, I'm going to have a business." And they all said, "When are you going to find that? When are you going to do that?" I said, "Maybe today." So I left and was going out to the Trio Club for the charity ball for the Junior League. And we were decorating it. And all the way across from the Irish Made Donut shop there on 79 South, saw that little old log cabin sitting there. And the grass was about 2 feet tall. And the men were tearing the windows out, and I looked at it, and I drove up in there, and I asked them who owned it, and they told me. Went straight across the donut shop, asked if I might use their phones. We didn't have cell phones 50 years ago. So they let me, and I called Mr. Sanders in Little Rock, Carl Sanders, and he said, "Yes, I'll rent it to you, but why would you want it? The windows are already out there tearing down." I said, "I'll take it just like it is, and I'll send you a check. Give me your address." Wrote it down. So I went back over there, and I thought, "Oh, this is going to be wonderful. It's just what I want." So I told him not to do anything else. So anyway, I went and called Murphy at lunch and told him what I was doing. And he came down there, and I thought he was going to faint. He looked at it and he said, "What is this?" I said, "This is my new store. It's called Sissy's Log Cabin." And he just looked at me and shook his head and said, "You would have done anything to gotten something today." I said, "Well, it's a surprise to everybody." So we did. And we started a little project, and all of our friends came and helped. The wallpaper had roaches this big under it, and it'd been there all these years in the early 1900s, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was built in like 1920.
Yeah, and we've gotten a letter from one of his sons, I believe it is, and we have that and everything, and it was just wonderful. And it was logs inside. It had kind of a wooden floor. Now the wooden floor was already termite eaten up, if you remember.
I remember that.
And so it was just kind of hard to walk, because we put some plywood down, took care of that, and the windows we put them back in, and all these people came and did all this stuff. And there were several problems in the beginning, because we didn't have any heat, we didn't have any air. And,
no hot water.
No, well, of course, never had hot water.
Yeah, we never had hot water.
No, we never had hot water, except we used a Mr. Coffee and made hot water for people drinking tea and everything. And so all my friends came, and Garmin's grocery store was right over there where the estate shop is now. And so
they had the best bologna in the world, too.
Bill would go get a pound of bologna and a pound of cheese, a loaf of bread, and some mustard. And that's what after school, he always knew it was in that little ice box, that little portable thing. And they'd come out and they'd make them sandwiches, and they'd bring their friends to help too, because he didn't want to do all that work. And so we were always moving something, constantly moving. So we only drove station wagons. So we started moving everything in after we got it kind of okay. And we just had a floor fan in the summertime, but it was getting cold. It was in the fall, so it was getting nice and cool and everything. And so we just started, and we got everything out of my attic and loaded in there. And Bill was young enough he could climb the stairs easy and hand the stuff down, and we'd take it then. And we worked so hard. And I remember when we had a celebration with all my friends. We had our first bridge party out there, and a little dinner and everything. Not a dinner, it's called buffet.
Well, tell them about the loan from Aunt Biddy.
Well, I needed some money because I wanted to do some repair, and so I thought about it. I want to go ask my mother, because she wouldn't have liked that log cabin. It was a little too primitive for my mother, but my Aunt Bee is my namesake, so I said, well, I'm hers. So I called her and asked her if she'd loan me some money to start a business. She said, "How much do you need?" I said, "I only need $1,500. Now, back in 1970, you couldn't go to the bank and get a loan. A woman couldn't do it, and especially if you wouldn't give your jewelry or anything up for collateral. I wasn't about to do that. So anyway, she gave the $1,500, and I spent it wisely, very wisely. But I had this thing, I wanted to pay it back as soon as possible. If I had to go without food, I wanted to pay that back, because I don't like owing money. Anyway, so we
What
did.
was your first inventory that you bought? I've never talked to you about that.
Well, I didn't have anything, and not a lot, and didn't have any jewelry at all. I was going to put it out there. So
Right.
people knew immediately. All my friends had stuff that they had been left, and they wanted me to sell it for them. So I started this little consignment program, and I had a sheet, and I got 30% of what I sold it for. And it had to be cash if it was consignment and everything. We had a little thing, a layaway. Now, the layaway kind of got out of hand because everybody wanted to buy something. Like I'd bought all my stuff, $1 down, $1 a month. I couldn't do that because I didn't have any money. So anyway, we just started like that. And then...
And don't you remember the old layaway? You pay me anything you want, whenever you want, and keep it in there as long as you want.
I said, and honey, it's just wonderful because I could do that, and especially if it came out of my attic, I already owned it anyway, so I knew what I could do on it and what I couldn't do, so that's how we operate. And then Bill, after school, would have to deliver it. We got a little Ginger, got finally old enough, she could drive, they delivered, and, it's just a wonderful situation here. And so 5 years ticked along and everything, and then I became a single parent, so it was just a little different in our lives. We had lots of changes happening. But the termites kept swarming. Oh, those termites. Every April here were the termites.
Most people don't know it, but when the ground temperature gets to about 70 degrees, that's when they come out, and then they live for, 3 or 4 hours, and then they die.
Yeah, well, we finally got a solution in our later years for that, too.
Yeah. That's a different story, though.
Yeah, we're not telling that story, no. But anyway, we had a good time starting it and everything. But, the thing is, termites ate the floor. We had to do something. We had to put plywood on the floor. My sister and her group came over. I have all these friends in Gillette. That's where I was raised, not born. But anyway, they'd come over, and Netta, oh my goodness, she didn't like that place either. My mother didn't like it, Netta didn't like it. But they'd help with the open house. They made food, and we served food, and we did all kinds of things just to get you to come out looking. I used to be known as that other little store in town when the jewelers talked about me, and I never remembered that.
But you really weren't a jeweler then. I mean,
No,
you basically,
no.
what did you do? You
Decorated? Junk store said junks and antiques. So I was doing interior decorating. I had the Kirby vacuum business, and I had wallpaper, drapes. We made drapes in my garage, and I had a good friend who was a husband was president of Energy, and we made those drapes in her garage most of the time. And anything, we made a living. So anyway, I was just obsessed with being successful, but I paid that money back in a hurry because I was going to do that on the side and get that through with. But anyway, we just kind of had fun and everything. So, people started bringing me things, and I think, well, what is that? I kept looking at everything.
Right.
So one day, this chain came in. Now, the old watch chains like this were 60 inches long. This one's been cut off.
Where you doubled them and...
You double them, right, that's right. And then you can put a pin over here and do all kinds of stuff. But you see...
What went on the end of that?
It's called a slide because these slide up and down. See, these are slides that slide up and down. And a man's watch, or a woman's watch.
Right.
And we wore them. And, oh, they're so pretty with the pretty watch hanging here on it.
It's called a watch slide.
And that's called a watch slide. And this is a beautiful chain here. Now, this is an old Victorian 1800 chain here. But you don't find a lot of really
So let me preface this. So Sissy became extremely famous for the watch slide bracelet.
Right. And the only why...
Tell us how that happened.
Give me your arm and I'll show you, okay? You take this chain and put it over here, and I'd say, oh my goodness, that looks so good on you. Let's get you a slide with your birthstone in it here. We'll make your husband the clasp, and then we'll put your children here.
I don't think it looks really good on me.
Well, believe it or not, I've sold some in these. I said, these are, they come in stone and different, things like, this is cornelian, but the men would wear the ones like this.
You put it right here so
you
they
don't
can see
like
it.
Okay.
No, I want to see the camera.
So I would take these little slides. Now, most of them were this size right here. Little tiny little boys here.
We on this camera yet?
Can you see that?
Yeah, I'm going to put
So anyway.
This is a completed slide bracelet, and these are a lot of the ones that we actually handmade, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
They look like Don Drake slides.
They are Don Drake slides. That's exactly right. Some of them are, some of them are different jewelers that made them. But you'd have something you wanted to design, some jewelry or something. I make these for you. But anyway, the reason I got into the jewelry business, because I didn't sell anything in jewelry, because I didn't know much. See?
Yeah, how did that happen?
Well, I put a counter in over here because everybody kept bringing me. One lady brought me a lockbox this long, stuffed, full of stuff. But I had this good friend who had retired in Mena, Arkansas, Mr. McCarthy. I'll never forget him. He had retired. And so he came down one day, and here he had a box of old slides, and there I wanted them. So I was going to buy them if he taught me about jewelry. That man stayed, and he helped me, and he showed me how to test gold. And of course, he has showed me too that I didn't know this, but I can take gold and I can rub it on my hand in here, and I can turn black as I want to. But now this is kind of rough here on the edges. I don't know if I can make it do that here, but anyway, it would turn black in here on me.
Yeah,
See, it's already doing it. Yeah.
But you were built to be born to be a jeweler.
Well, and I found out that my uncle, far removed, over in England, was a jeweler.
Really?
And that was in our background, our checking everything we did. But anyway, that turned out to be so funny, but it was just a wonderful time. And, you know, he was teaching me this, and he had more slides for me and more, and they kept adding to them. So you'd buy one. If you didn't have very much money, put one on layaway for you. Then we'd buy the chains instead of little chains like this. These are small chains, see. So you started with that, but and then we put a loaner clasp on their little gold thing, so you didn't have to buy the clasp either. But then somebody would come get you another one, and that's why we had a layaway with boxes this long. And so when we'd make your stuff, and it takes a little while, we had a wonderful time. But you know, I had to have a jeweler, and Don helped me a lot, and then I had 3 or 4 other people that were really, really instrumental in helping me with the repairs, because our repairs started coming in too. And of course, Mr. McCarthy was a jeweler, and he still had a store. His sons were running, so he'd take the repairs back and bring them back the same week. And so we started getting to do repairs and everything too. And he was so smart. And I decided if I was going to do this, I better go to school. So I started taking gemology classes from GIA. And then I decided, well, I got to learn how to use that bench like everybody else. So,
yeah, tell them the story about that. That didn't go so good.
That was not a very good thing for me to do. I don't really like that torch at all. But anyway, I went to Trenton Jewelry School. And I decided I was going to do that, so I did. It was a week my daughter got
married. That was for the bench.
For the bench, right. And so they gave me, I got there, and there was nothing but men in that whole room. It made me mad. I could not believe that all those men were there, and I was the only woman. So I sat down with this man who was so nice to me. Anyway, he said, the man got up there to tell us, and we had a torch and a striker and a big old gas can down here, you know, those gas, butane, propane, or what, propane, I didn't know what stuff was. I didn't like it anyway. But anyway, and I said, okay, we're going to make a penny bracelet. I said, oh my goodness, that means I got to start that torch. So
you laid the pennies down, you had to weld them together?
Well, yeah, we did. And this had, you know, metal top on this bench and everything. So he showed us how to do it. And I did pretty good, except that torch was already lighted, so I didn't think anything about that. So the next morning I came and started trying to finish it. And I kept trying to get the thing to go, and I had gas everywhere by this time. And the guy next to me said, let me light that for you. And so he did the striker and singed his arm. I felt so bad about that, but I didn't know I was going to do that because I wasn't really good at that anyway. So it was just so funny. Then it wasn't funny because it scared me to death. Anyway, I made that bracelet, and I learned how to do all that stuff, and I did size rings.
And you graduated from that?
I graduated, and I couldn't even believe I passed that course because that was the hardest thing I've done. I didn't like getting, and your hands get so black, and it was just a mess, you know.
Well, it's good that you knew how to do it, but the last place you needed to be was on the bench. You need to be by the front counter.
Yeah, but you know, I've had a lot of people come in and say, Sissy, this came apart and I'm getting married tomorrow because you put it back together. Oh, Lord, I got to do this. And I can do it. And I can still do it. I don't really like it. We had a good time doing the jewelry. And I taught several other people to do it too along the way. And then we, you know, had enlarged, so we had to have other jewelers. So we ended up having several really, really talented people because people were bringing their jewelry and wanted to do custom work. And, boy, that was something else.
See, I came into business with you in, what, 84?
About then.
84.
Right. Well, they started out this.
Slides were huge then, remember?
Oh, I know. But and Bill, bless his heart, I broke my arm one Christmas, and he must have had 30 braces. And you know, if you put one, they want the other one right here in the middle, so you got to take them all off, recork them, clean them real good, put it back together. It takes an hour or two to do one. So we had piles of those to do, and he did them all that Christmas because I couldn't use my arm. I broke it. But anyway, we had some wonderful times together, and it taught Bill a really good skill. But then he was offered a job at TGNY, and he went off, and he didn't work for me. But
that was in high school at that point in time.
Yeah, but I got him back after a little while because I really needed.
You know why I went to work at TGNY?
Why?
Remember I wanted that car, and you wouldn't buy it?
That's right. Well,
you remember what it was? It was an old 442, white and black, Starsky and Hutch car.
Well,
I never did get it though.
But you remember what you did drive? My daddy gave him
Yeah.
a blue Datsun.
Yeah, I went from a
pickup.
442 wanting that to a blue Datsun with automatic transmission that probably had 50 horsepower.
Well, my mother lived with me all the time, and she could go with Bill, and he'd drive her around, and it was just wonderful because, she was so instrumental in my life for 19 years there. But we had a great time. There was a lot of hard times too. But now, all of a sudden, I want to tell you this: I was refinishing furniture. So I had a good time doing that because I loved old furniture and antiques. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. I can remember delivering grandfather clocks upstairs. And if you had a house of furniture, they called me. I went out and did it. So I decided I had to become an appraiser too. So I did that too.
New England Appraisers Society.
Yeah, that's right. And I've been there probably 40 years now. But anyway, it's still going and I still do some. Not a lot, but I still like to do it because I just recently had a little project I worked on, and I've got another lady helping, and it was fun to do. But anyway, the business started growing, and of course, we were outgrowing that little shop. I could tell that in a hurry.
Mm-hmm.
And we
it was, 900 square feet, log cabin built in the 1920s.
Right. You came in the door.
I noticed when I had to repair the logs at one point in time, and they actually put nails in between the logs, put wire in there. That's what held the mortar and the mud in between the logs.
Right. Well, we had to do several things, and we learned how to do a lot of them. But it was a fun business, and the front porch had to be. Now, at Christmas time, it gets so busy, we had to give you numbers like they do at the ice cream place. And have to sit out in your car and then we come get you, kind of like we've been going through lately.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was we had a good time there.
Remember how we fixed the floor that last time? Tore out the entire floor and the entire log cabin, and then poured concrete in there.
Had the concrete truck come put the thing there and poured it for us.
And
we
used
did.
the walls as the form.
Yeah. And this is a funny thing. These termites were a big deal. It may not sound so big to you, but they're a big deal because you're trying to show a diamond and a 2-carat diamond, and this termite gets there and Bill's over there waving them away. Well, Murphy said, "Why don't you catch those termites?"
So Murphy, you were single. Where'd Murphy?
No,
what happened to Murphy?
Well, Murphy went to Africa, and so Murphy had a good time, and we both made a lot of mistakes. But anyway, we got
back together.
Tell the story over the bridge and almost getting thrown off.
Victoria Falls in Africa.
That was just terrible.
What happened?
I promised Bill I'd go to Africa one time on a safari. So if I tell you something, I'm going to do it. I believe in keeping your word. Yeah. So we got on that airplane, and I got to Little Rock, Arkansas, and the plane's engine was broken. I had to wait a whole day up there. Didn't know I was going to have to do it. And then I got on there, and we flew to Africa. We had to land at St. Saul because our fuel was gone. And that was island outside.
St. Saul Island, off the east coast of Africa.
Right. And so Bill was having a big time. All the hunters were on the plane. And I had to make him come sit down by me because they were having too good a time. Mm-hmm. So we did. And finally we got there 3 days late from the engine and all the problems we had getting there. Mm-hmm. But that's okay too. We got there.
Flew into Joburg.
Yes, we did. And it was 3 days late, so Murphy had already planned this party 3 days after we get there, and it was that night. So we had a big time. We got to go to the store. I remember going to the grocery store. Bill kept saying, "I knew you was going to be shocked. The chickens were raw, out in the open. Everything was out and flies." But anyway, I was really acclimated to a new atmosphere.
Was that 83?
Yeah. And so we went, we were going on safari. And so we were going down to some town from Johannesburg.
No, we were at Victoria Falls.
Well, we went down there second.
Right on Zambia, the old Rhodesia line.
Oh,
beautiful area.
Right. So we got to Victoria Falls, and I was a nervous wreck over there. Mm-hmm. I wasn't real comfortable at all. So we got over there, and Bill and Murphy and I went over to the falls, and they're huge, huge. But they've got a fence here. And then about 8 feet out there, they have all these rocks, and it goes down to the falls. But the fence is here. So
big swinging bridge that went out through the mist.
Oh, yeah. But that swinging bridge was down here. And they wanted to go over it. Well, I'm about to get on a swinging bridge and go across all those falls and Big River. So they went on down there, and I wore a chain, just like this watch chain here, with a cross on the bottom of it. Now, it was gold, and I shouldn't have done that, but I always liked that. And, I always had something on, like my angel or my cross. So I heard this noise, and I looked around, and back there in the jungle coming out were 2 men. Mm-hmm. And they had these poles with them, stabbing things, and it scared me to death. And I thought, "Oh, where's Bill? Where's Bill and Murphy?"
Well, Dad and I were about, 100, 200 yards out on that bridge.
Yeah. And Bill said, Dad, we shouldn't have left Mother. This is dangerous out
And I
here.
had a feeling that something's wrong with you.
And he turned around. I couldn't see them because they were out of sight. And I said, oh, my Lord. They picked me up, and this gold chain kept doing it around my neck. I had a terrible burn on my neck from him, and had me in the air, and they were going to throw me over into those rocks, and so I'd go on down the falls. I'd be the end of it once that chain broke. Well, they had a fit. They couldn't break it because I had soldered it together and taken the clasp off. For some reason, before I left, I did that. So here we are, and I'm up in the air, and I'm thinking, oh, my God, I'm going to die in Africa. So I started praying. And about that time, I heard Bill coming and Murphy, and I could see them because I'm like this, and they're trying to get me loose. So I was terrified.
They dropped you and
They
ran off.
dropped me. Thank goodness they dropped me. And they came, they ran off, and it's a little trauma. I was traumatized, but Bill couldn't understand that. No, it's just a little instant here, a little instant. So anyway, we went on then to Zambia. What is that? Yeah, and we get on this airplane, and I'm in a foreign land.
There were holes in the floor.
And I said, "What is this?" He said, "Well, they're at war right now. They've declared war." And I said, "Well, are those bullet holes?" And they said, "Yes, but we're flying. It didn't hurt the engine. It didn't hurt the gas tanks, and blah, blah." I looked at Bill and I said, "We're really going on this plane?" Well, we did, and guess what? The bullets started flying again. And I said, "Lord, I knew better to get on this plane, and I don't know why in the world I did, but I did." We got there, and they took us off one at a time, put us in it, and took our money and took everything we had. And I was saying, we're never going to get home now. We don't have any way to get home.
Think how much fun it was, though.
Well, you may have thought that, sweet. All I could think of is
It was an adventure.
I'm going to get a ticket home as soon as I can. But anyway, we had several other instances that happened, but I learned a lot, and I did get to go to some of the mines and diamonds and looked at stones and had
Remember the ivory we bought?
Oh, ivory and elephant hair bracelets. But now we did learn something too. If you put a bracelet on somebody, you put a plastic sack on it. Was real light.
Yeah, like a Ziploc bag.
Yeah,
and slide right on.
Right.
So that was in '83. So I came into business with you in '85. Tell them some of the early stories about me on the front porch.
Oh my goodness. Bill was going to become a jeweler. And so we got up. My daddy had a buffing wheel put on the very back porch. Now the screened in back porch now was like this. It was rickety.
And that's where the commode was out there.
Oh yeah, the commode. Now the commode had plywood around it and a spring-loaded thing on the door and one light bulb. And I'd already had this little incident in the commode, and I was real paranoid about that because one day I asked this friend of mine that works at Simmons Bank to stay in the front while I ran
Was
the
that Butch
restaurant.
Getchell?
Oh, he died. He knew you said that on TV. That's right. So he was keeping the front, and I went to the restroom. When I got there, the darn light bulb was not burning. It just had one light bulb. So I went in, and I said, "Oh, my goodness." So I sat down, and something furry went between my legs and sticking me. I jumped
Was it a
up.
possum? What was it?
Oh, possum. I jumped out off that and walked into the red doors, what we call it, going to the kitchen. Went in that kitchen, and Butch was there. And oh, I'm naked. I didn't ever pull my pants up. And I think it scared him to death not to come out there after that. But anyway, he thought it's the funniest thing. He couldn't tell everybody that bank enough about it. But we had a good time. But then we set Bill's buffing wheel back there. We had to put plywood on the floor because the termites had gotten the floor again.
And the back screen door would not open, so you couldn't. You had to come back out to the front.
Well, the screen was rotten, and we just nailed everything shut, so you couldn't get in. So, okay, I said, "Bill, would you mind going and buffing this lady's ring?" Because it was out there on the porch. He said, "We're glad to." So he took it. 10, 15 minutes
I was
passed.
a new jeweler now.
Oh, he's just starting. And came through, and here comes Bill come through. And I said, "Well, have you finished?" "I'm still working on it." This buffer had picked it up, put it through the screen, and it was in the mud outside. And the only way to get that was come to the front where we were. And so he picked it up, finally got it, and buffed it up and cleaned it up. And he learned something that day. And it was like, don't touch the buffer that much. It was really...
Back then we learned something every day.
Every day we learned something, we did. But anyway, we had some exciting times and some good times and some bonding times too. Because both the kids worked there on and off, and it's just I had to do them. I put a basketball up for you too out there. But now we're talking about a log cabin that's going like this, kind of leaning over here, and several things happened that are scary to me now when I think. I wouldn't even lock the door. One time, Mr. the man that lived at the trader here, and his
Mr. McCullum.
Mr. McCullum, right, and his wife lived right next to him, and he was so good of an older man, much older. And he called me one day and he said, "You probably need to come on out here. This lady would like to buy some stuff, and you didn't lock the front door." And I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Miss McCollum." I went out there, and she was waiting on all these people writing tickets up for me, too. It's Leetta Sweat. I never will forget that. She wrote those tickets up. We had a great time. But I started buying this jewelry. It's in this one counter here, about the size of this right here, 6 or 8 feet. We put it in, and it didn't have locks on it. We didn't know it locked. But anyway, we put the jewelry in and everything, and people started bringing it, and then I wouldn't know what something was. I called Mr. Thing for me, and Mr. McCarthy came on down. We had a great time, didn't we? Mm-hmm. And Bill would come out, and he'd have some of the stuff we had to clean before we could even tell what it was, or if there was a stone or anything. You know, all real stones are cold, and that was easy. So I'd let them feel it to see if it was cold, and they'd know it was a real stone. And so if we needed to, he'd take it and appraise it for me and do all the work, on it, whatever needed. But it was a blessing. We learned a lot, and I learned a lot about jewelry, and so I started getting these books and reading them and trying to learn really a lot about it, so I could be a really good appraiser. So this time went on, clicked on, and so, shop kind of got bad, didn't it?
Well, it was about 85. That's when Sharon and I just got married.
Right.
And that was it was a good time. But slide bracelets were huge. I remember the last piece of furniture I sold was a roll top desk.
Oh, yes.
And I had to go out to the house and measure it, and then come back, and I had to deliver it, tear it all the way up the stairs, get it all situated.
That was the
half a
day
day.
Joseph.
Yeah, wasted half a day, and I came back and said, "We got to get out of this furniture business."
No.
I've wasted half a day, and I've already sold 3 rings that morning.
That's right. And Bill, having gone to jewelry school himself at this point, so he went and did all that stuff too. He could size and fix, and so if a person bought something, they weren't fixed right then.
Yep.
And he'd go back there and do it.
Yeah,
and
you always told me we got to be bigger, faster, and stronger than everybody.
Well, I'll tell you this. That gave me an opportunity to sell him something else, didn't it? So we had a really good time doing that.
I'd go back and either buy it or set it or build it or whatever we had to do.
That's right. And so, it was so fun because when the box came in like that, well, I had one particular friend that came every day for lunch. She was a teacher. Well, a couple of them are teachers that came. And they'd eat the bologna with us too, and they'd fit these big copper pots. We'd clean those, and Bill had been in the kitchen instructing because he was working the jewelry bench in the back. We had bought an add-on building, and we put this huge long building there going off one of the rooms here, and we put a safe in the end. Remember that?
And it was
safe?
so wonderful because it was new.
Oh,
it was the only new thing we had out there.
Well, I'll tell you something. One of the worst things that ever happened was the snake in the closet. There was a little pantry about as big as a little tiny old-fashioned old closet, and it was back at the bottom, and I saw it in the kitchen there, and I knew there was a hole in that floor back that had gotten in. I called Bill to come and take care of that little snake in there for us, but I didn't tell anybody in the shop it was there. I said, "We're going to stay up here right now because Bill's taking care of a problem in the back for me right quick," and he got the snake out, but that scared me to death. Then I realized we're going to have to do something about construction.
Talking about jewelers, do you know other person in our family who used to be was a jeweler? Remember Rob White, Judge Rob White?
Oh, Judge White, right. Yes, he went to school on working at Sissy's Log.
Yeah, he was a bench jeweler. He actually, to this day, you had on these slide bracelets, you had to make the slide chains, and he was extremely good at making those slide chains. And he holds the record for the highest number of slide chains made in an hour.
Oh, he could do it.
It was crazy. He made like 36 of them.
Put a little ring, a 14-karat gold ring on it,
solder the end.
Because that's what we use, spring rings to hold the two together here to the class. And nobody else did that because we knew how to do it, and before they wouldn't break, because so many people would have them breaking. If they got a little too tight, they'd snap. And we didn't want that happening.
A lot of people just would actually put the ring through there and not just weld it.
Yeah.
We welded it. It's hard to weld a little ring to a rope chain like that.
Yeah, I know, but he did.
Rob was excellent at that.
Well,
for sure.
he was a man of many talents. All of them had many talents, I can tell you that. So,
you remember the colored stone pendants I used to make at night?
Oh my goodness, yeah. People bring these stones. They go on these trips go across the boat and go on a vacation, and they'd buy these stones $15 a carat. They'd think it was
London blue topaz.
London blue, yes. And it'd be 10 millimeters wide and 60 millimeters wide. I mean, deep. Oh my heavens! And so it was just a thing that people,
Yeah.
they were goons to buy these things.
Well,
Most
they
of
were
them
going on
weren't
these
even real.
cruise ships, and they were buying this color stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The Imperial Amethyst and the London Blue Topaz.
Had a wonderful
yeah.
time doing it.
Yeah.
I even bought one time on a cruise ship. Got home, the thing was, oh,
Glass.
yeah, it's just glass. There's a Bluefield glass stone, and I knew it wasn't real when I bought, but I wanted to make sure I was right. So it's like $10 is what it cost me. But we had some experiences like that. But when you start from nothing, and you want to learn, and it's wonderful what you learn in a hurry. When you have to take cram courses, do this. But this was something I just loved, and so when you love something, it's not work. And Bill looked at me the other day and said, "Well, are you ever going to completely retire?" And I said, "Probably not, because people that have retired, something seems to happen to them, and you have to stay sharp." And you can't stay sharp sitting and looking at the TV all the time.
Not kidding.
So, and I don't like TV anyway. Now, my sister loves that food show, and she's with me today here listening. And she had some experiences over here, too. She helped me. We'd do estates. And, we were big into estates. And one lady on the 17th, I never will forget it. Her son called me from California, wanted me to take over for him, and I did this for her. And when I went in the house, she's still in the bed in there because she didn't get up out of that bed much. So he left her with me for the 2 weeks for us to get it ready. And Netta came over with her group of friends. All my girlfriends came and helped us with sales. And we walked in the front. It was a little bit weavy. It kind of like went in, the floor did. So we got some more plywood, but we knew how to put the plywood down. So we all put plywood in it and everything so we could have traffic in there. And we had a really fun time. But there was so much stuff in that house. I never will forget all the stuff we had. But we had a good time doing it. And
so let's talk about when did you and Dad get back together? So 87?
Late
88?
Something like that.
Yeah.
88.
So basically it was just, then it was you and I, and then it was you and I and Dad and Ginger all together.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
So
that's when it really started blossoming, because Ginger was she was brilliant at advertising. And you and I were on the front counter, and then Dad actually did the office and kind of ran the business from behind the scenes, because you and I pretty much didn't do anything but sell. We didn't think about much of anything else. And then Dad had the brilliant idea of building the new log cabin.
It wasn't brilliant. He did it because we were falling in and we were going to be condemned. It was
but you and I might still be in that old log cabin.
He looked at us and said, "Y'all would never stop selling in order to build something. We're going to build it next door." And we owned the land there, so that was good. And so we just built it right next door.
That was in 91, wasn't it?
Oh, yes. And on Thanksgiving Day, we moved in.
Yeah.
And it was just I thought we
Remember, you and I thought, we walked in and go, how in the world are we going to pay for this thing?
Oh, I know. It's huge, huge. Here we go from 900 feet in a little add-on building to this
5,000 square feet.
At the bottom.
All brand new.
Smell good.
Walls are straight.
And then you had to buy the cabinets to put in there, and you had to buy all the stuff. And so we really, oh my goodness, we had a lot of antique stuff. I really like the antique part of the business, and that's what I really thrived on. The more antique stuff that came in, the better I liked it. And if I'd get a lockbox, I was just floating. I couldn't even go to bed. I was so excited.
That's when Victorian jewelry was so popular too.
It was so popular. But the slides talking about that, I wanted to be sure and show them. We've taken some people's old slides like this one. And these Omega chains, we're really
Remember the
good.
Omegas? We used to buy those by the kilo.
Oh, I know. And see, this opens up. We split it.
Yeah.
Put a safety thing on it, and this chain inside, and this
Slide
flips.
right through there.
Yeah, this flips over your Omega chain.
Snaps right down on it.
We love taking this old jewelry and making something you'll wear out of it. Don't just keep it in your lock boxes or anything. We like doing something with it, and I really enjoy this. This is my favorite part of the business, is working on this stuff. Like this platinum bracelet is an estate piece that came in years and years ago.
Look at this. Let me put it right here.
Yeah.
You can see it's a beautiful platinum piece. And what you put on the side of it, Sissy?
A 14-karat rope chain.
Yeah.
Because she wanted it larger, and she has arthritis, and it was hard to do. So we put her one clasp on all of it, soldered this chain on it, and this is probably done 40 or 50 years ago.
That's hard to do. And this is also when white and yellow was getting so popular too.
Oh right, it was starting out, and I've had so many compliments on that. But that's a beautiful piece.
Those are all French cut sapphires in there too.
It is, and it's a wonderful, wonderful piece.
European cut diamonds.
Right. We got a lot of really special jewelry, and I just really like it. But a lot of people would take these slides too, and put it and make a watch thing out of it too. You can make it's just
We put watches in there.
it's endless what you can do.
Remember
with
the
it.
old ladies' watches that we used to take those ugly bracelets off of and put the yellow and white gold bracelets and build them in, and did the quartz movements in them and did all those things.
The thing is, we haven't forgotten how to do it. It's that people have moved into a different phase of what they'd like to do. But we have started in jewelry, and Bill won the prize, National Jeweler prize, with a piece he created and made. And
you know where I was when I created that? Lou and Ann's at dinner in Stuttgart, which was a Cajun place.
Is that right?
I drew it on a napkin.
And he made it out of green tourmaline. And tell him why you
It's
did
supposed
that.
to be really, really like what we had. We bought the tourmaline, and tourmaline is very elongated. It had a red tourmaline for the middle, and it had another tourmaline for the top. And it's supposed to be extremely lucky. And it's kind of funny because the first time that was ever worn, Sherry won a full-length mink coat. And then it was in the inauguration, Clinton inauguration, the first one. And then also the lady that bought it ended up living way longer because remember she was not in very good shape at that point in time. So and then we won the national design contest with it. So.
But tell them how it came in and out of that thing you made for it.
Yeah, it was more like a God's eye or something, and it had a holder that would snap in and snap out of it.
The red stone looked at you.
Yeah, it really did.
You could go any place and that stone was just a kind of a sparkle toward you. And people were fascinated with it, and it's on display for a long time.
But I think one of the big things that happened to us, tell them about Southern Living and what happened there.
Oh, well, they called them, wanted to come down and film us and do a little story on us and everything. They said, we just love it, come on. So they came and we showed them around and had everything. They were fascinated.
You sold the guy a diamond ring.
Well, sure I did. I had to. And he came. We had a good time, and he did it and told his buddy, and his buddy flew down there and bought one too.
But that was a huge deal when they did that article on it.
And that's such a compliment. This past week we had a special customer fly here from California that heard about us through a friend. And she came and looked at our jewelry.
Your grandson Wyatt was the reason that happened.
Right, and he had told the man to have her call, and they called, and they flew down here. And
isn't that crazy? With all the COVID and the masks on the plane and everything.
That's right, and I couldn't believe that happened. And she actually did that, but that's such a warm feeling to get something. I get calls from all over the United States now that people have moved, especially up in Kansas. I have a friend, and they buy everything from us still. And like this last week in Louisiana, I have a friend in Louisiana I'm shipping 2 rings to this week. And it's people, the graduation rings. I did get their birthstone rings to them when they were small. And now they're graduating from college. So I guess I've been here a long time.
Well, your other grandson, William, had the brilliant idea of doing these Facebook Lives and all the social media we've done. He's done an absolutely fantastic job on that.
And I might add to every one of my grandchildren that work in the business have been to GIA school, the graduate gemologist. That's one of the stipulations I told Bill. I said, you're going to be a graduate gemologist because we need one and you need to go to school to finish up Bill's education.
Remember what you told me when I came home from GIA?
What was it?
Well, I was, of course, I had all this knowledge and I wanted to tell every customer. Every angle and formula and anything you possibly can imagine. And I had to tell them all the information that I had. And finally, after about a week, he pulled me over in the corner and you go, look, you're boring these people to death. You need to keep that to yourself. They don't want to hear all this stuff. What they want to do is just hear how pretty it is and how it makes them feel.
And it sparkles and it's good. And they really want to know the price. The problem, but you don't say that right off the bat. But I can tell you this: European diamonds are old cut diamonds. And the old mine cuts are even worse, and they're really kind of flat. But anyway,
we love them though.
We love all that. We love all those old diamonds. But if we had
back on track, because we have a little bit of time left, but back on track. So we were in about 92, 93, and then we continued on with the log cabin, and everything worked so great. And Ginger did such a fantastic job on the advertising, and we just were flooded. We were growing at 20-30% a year. Remember how crazy that was?
Right.
We outgrew our management, which the management was us. We outgrew us all the time because it was so crazy. And then we doubled the size of the log cabin, and then we finally made the decision to go to Little Rock. Why don't you tell them the story of how that came about?
Goodness, that was something else. And Bill kept saying, we need another store, Mother. We've outgrown this one now. we have customers that's so far up
We
in
need to
the
diversify.
right, and said we need to be and we need to diversify. And the kids are getting older, and we're going to have people wanting to come into business with us.
And also Rolex had called us and said that they have an opening in Little Rock for Rolex.
Yes, well,
Remember that?
probably, yes, I remember that vividly. Do I remember that? So we all got in the car and made a trip to Little Rock to look around, and we went everywhere. But now Billy done some research. He and Sherry really
Met,
kind of searched it out some.
Lewis and Libby Bunch.
Right. So what we did is we found a jewelry store that had closed up in Little Rock in the Heights, and I just
Mary Haley's was going out of business.
right. Mary Haley was going out of business, giving up the Uriman design, and
You
it
remember
was
what
just
Dad told me?
what?
He goes, "If you lost your mind, why do you want to come here when this store left and the other one's going out of business? Why in the world do you want to be here?"
And Bill said, "Daddy, I have a good feeling about this. Doesn't this have a warm, fuzzy feeling in here?" And so that's where we decided we'd be. But we went to lunch to make our mind up
At
what we were
Cheers
going
there
to
in
do.
Little Rock.
At Cheers in Little Rock. And it was just something because Bill said,
It was
I
you and
told-
I, Sherry, and Dad.
yeah, so I told Casey, who was going to be our representative, been talking about Rolex, that I'd let him know at lunch. So Bill puts his phone in the middle of the table, and he said, "We're
And I
supposed
already
to."
I hadn't sent it, but I wrote the text. We will take Rolex in Little Rock.
Yeah.
I mean, it had not sent it.
And he said, "So Mother, it's up to you. You have to punch this button over here if you're going to do this, because I realize it's a big endeavor that we're moving, and we're going to create another whole store. And I know how you don't like to enlarge and have debt, and so this is what we're going to do." And so lo and behold, I reached out and said, "Oh well, what the heck? We might as well do this." You know, I'm getting older and everything, and I'll be working the rest of my life anyway, so let's do it. And so we decided to do it, and it was just kind of like that it all happened because someone had called and told Bill about all what was going on in that area. And
10 years ago, that was.
it's been 10 years, and it was a strain at first to get used to having to manage two stores. Well, what we've done now, we've really enlarged. In the last 50 years, we have 5 stores now.
Then we did Jonesboro 2 years later.
Right, we did. And then after that,
And Joe is running that and doing a fantastic
Right.
job. And then after that, we did Memphis, which to me, that was the most difficult
out
one.
of state. Oh,
Yeah, it was like we were in a whole foreign country, but that's been a fantastic store. And just did Conway. So you've got 5 now. Where you want to go next? I heard you want to go to Northwest Arkansas.
Well, there is a time we probably will do it, but you know what I want to do? I kind of remember that $1,500 I started with?
Yeah.
When all that stuff, William and I had this discussion.
Well, you got $1,500 I can borrow to go to Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah, right. You're funny.
They wouldn't even buy a diamond ring now, would
Oh
they?
my! Yeah, it wasn't an estate one. You can buy the lowest estate one with that, and I would love selling that one too. But it's not what you buy; it's the service you get with it, and that to me is so important. I don't care. We flew one time on Christmas to it's to Vail. What's it? Vail or Aspen? We went to Colorado.
Actually, what happened was we had FedEx a package to a guy that was in Vail that was going down to Mexico for a vacation, but he had to leave before the package got there. And then we actually flew out to Vail, picked up the package, and then flew to Mexico, Puerto Vallarta, and delivered it on the beach.
We did.
Remember, Tommy Boone did that.
I know. We had a really nice person that we dealt with in the diamond industry, and he came and did that for us because, we were upset, and this man had been such a great customer. It doesn't matter if it's a dime or a dollar, you're still an important customer to us. And I never want to lose fact of the sight that, everybody's important. It doesn't matter what you're buying. It's
Remember Paul Michael down in Lake Village? Now, Paul used to be in the diamond business.
I know.
And I'll never forget, that was the biggest buy we ever made at the time. We bought all those cluster rings. Remember that?
Do I?
There was like 1 carat, 2 carat cluster rings, and there was 82 carats of diamonds in that whole deal. And we bought it.
Spread it out like this and went through
Scared to
every
death,
single
weren't we?
Oh my! And then we had another man that came with those ballerina rings.
Yes.
Oh my! And he
Mr.
was
Knice.
from Mr.
You
Knice.
can't believe I remember all these people's
No,
names.
from New York, and
Yeah.
he came. Bill would say, "Oh no, not again." But
Baguette ballerina, the diamond baguettes around with the colored stone in the center.
well, I want to say too, we've made so many wonderful friends through this 50 years, and our friends in New York. And there was a man that came to the markets. We have these shows, you go to, and he'd always save all this old jewelry in stacks for me. And when Bill went that first time, a big show, I said, you're going to really be in for a treat. And he looked over at all those things and said, well, what is all that? I said, well, Bill, that's antique jewelry.
Well, you kind of had to learn to be patient because I was fine, and there was maybe 100, maybe 200 trays. And we went through every one of them and looked at every single thing. And I'm over there just going, God, can we please hurry this up? And we got to the very end of it. And you know what you said?
What?
You said, let's go through it again. We might have missed something. I thought I was going to die.
Well, it got us where we are.
Yeah.
And you learned a lot of patience in this business.
I did.
Because if you got to have it, because, and you know, you can't remember all those prices, so you got to get a pad on every tray of it and do this to look at it to know. But what you're interested in, you put aside in a tray in the thinking tray. But we had a great time doing that
We did have a good time.
So, but you know, all these things. There's so many things we haven't shared with you here that have been funny stories that have happened through the way, and some of my other friends that have been involved in it too. It's just been wonderful.
Well, it has been wonderful.
And
you've had a wonderful 50 years, and we've got another 50 to come.
And
so.
I have to say, it's all my friends, my family, and everyone who's really made it like this. You know, my sister and I are older now, and we're kind of laying back a little bit, a lot really. But anyway,
I wish we could show Ned over there because she's probably the greatest add-on person I've ever seen in my entire life.
One lady came up to me and said, will you please let your sister go to the back room so I won't buy another thing. I bought everything.
Make her
she
stop.
Had 5 pieces. She said, please don't
Make
tell
her
me
stop.
anything else. Right. We
Make her
did, so
stop.
we had a good time with that. But, you know, we've had some great people work for us, too. Our employees that we've hired have been just phenomenal. And we've tried to be good to them. And, you know, we feel like everybody is family.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a lot of family here. We have my mother-in-law. We got Pat Sexton. Just, you know, Pat's 26 years this year. So
Is that right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Where'd those years
Shout
go?
out, Pat. How you doing? But it's a great time, and I'm thrilled about this year. And I know that you'll be doing more of these Facebook Lives. People love to see you. So
50th
Well.
anniversary sale.
we're very proud, and that's our. Oh, by the way, it's our 50th anniversary sale.
Right,
And it's
I
going
know
to go
it.
for 50 days till
And,
July 3rd.
I have a call every day about the Lagos bracelet.
Mhm.
The 50th anniversary
That's
Lagos
right.
bracelet. You have to order it really because once they make this run of them, that's it.
Stephen Lagos has designed this bracelet, and we're starting to pre-sell them in the stores. We've got the counter card, and it's only designed for Sissy's Log Cabin for their 50th anniversary, and it will not be sold any other time but this year, and only through Sissy's Log Cabin. So what a fabulous honor
I hope it
that is.
becomes a collector's item.
Oh, it already is a collector's item. We ain't got one yet.
I know everybody's calling
So-
wanting to see one. I said I can show you the picture.
So we're
But-
we're open for business. We're trying to be healthy and wise, and you know, distancing, and we got sanitation wipes, all those things. So come see us at Sissy's Log Cabin at all
Bring
5
all
of our
your jewelry and
locations.
get it cleaned during
Bring your
this time.
jewelry. We'll get it COVID free. That's for sure. But
That's right.
we'll have a great time, and we hope to see you all soon.
Come to any store. We'd love to see you because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
You said it so well.
Thank you. After 50 years, I've had a lot of